Dr. Edmond Dixon has dedicated much of his career as an educator to helping boys learn. As an elementary school principal in Simcoe, Ontario, he saw countless underachieving young boys pass by his desk, and he was frustrated by the fact that he saw so many who just weren't reaching their potential, and he felt helpless. So he left his principalship to get his doctoral degree, and part of his studies involved looking at how the brain reacts to motivation. The result is this book, Helping Boys Learn. There's a parent edition and a teacher edition, and now Dr. Dixon talks to school boards and educators and parents about this issue, and he's actually in Halifax for a workshop that's happening later tonight at the Halifax North Public Library, but he joins us this morning in the studio. Good morning. Thank you for coming in. So here's the question: how do you help boys learn, and why do you need to?
Right. Well, why you need to is probably the best place to start. Across North America, boys are underachieving in school. They make up the largest bulk of kids who drop out, who get suspended, who are diagnosed with ADHD and medicated, and also in special education classes, and generally underachieving in school. And the way to help them is really to focus on some of the things that have made boys successful for millennium, actually, in terms of working and becoming good participants in society. So I have these 6 secrets I talk about in the book. And those things, if you put those in an educational context, or if a parent does it at home with their child, they can see tremendous results, particularly in motivation.
What's an example?
Okay, so one of the 6 secrets is called movement. And that is, the neuroscience indicates that boys' brains wire earlier for movement and perception of movement. And anyone who works with young boys knows they have a hard time sitting still. But often we say that they have to do that in class. Well, I say, no, you don't. You can allow them to move and learn at the same time. And a parent can do the same thing. Across North America, parents complain about homework in the sense that they know the child needs to do it, but it also often disrupts the whole family.
Right.
And it's usually because the child doesn't want to do it. So one way you can do it, if you had, say, an 8-year-old boy, and he had some spelling words or things he was supposed to work on, just by tossing a ball back and forth, as you say the spelling words, he becomes more focused, because it helps to leverage 2 neural connections, his auditory and verbal one, as well as his kinesthetic, which is very powerful.
I can see how you can implement that at home. How would you do that in a school environment?
Well, and I spent yesterday working with the Chignecto board, where they're going to be implementing my methodologies across their elementary and junior schools. And basically what we use there is something, for example, called still life, where we actually allow them to get up and freeze in pictures, sort of like Tableau, if you remember.
Right, yeah, I remember that.
School, right? But this is actually play with a purpose. When they get in those positions, for example, of the water cycle, then they have to talk about what each part is, and then they go and write. So it's like adding a little piece in that leverages the strength of a boy's body, so that they're more motivated to go and write, and they have a better understanding, better cognition, we call it.
Wow, well, that's it. I mean, there are 6 secrets, as you mentioned, and they're outlined in the book, but you're also giving this workshop today for parents.
Right.
So that is today at the North Halifax Public Library at 6:30 p.m. and you do need to register ahead of time, but just go to helpingboyslearn.com, and there's also an Eventbrite site that outlines everything you need to know about the workshop later tonight.